And I'm here with Eugene Ritzik and myself, Dean Kleiter. And we may have Matt Tyon joining us as well. And we're here to help cover the game between Kody Hartung and Rylan Kleiter. They're in the A final here of one of the qualifiers here at the tour, both coming off 2 victories yesterday and looking to improve on that today. Eugene, how are you this morning?
Yes.
Long drive?
Oh, good morning. Good morning, Dean. Just fine, in spite of what is it? It was I think minus 27 when I got up this morning, and windy. So I don't know what it's like with that wind chill, but it's not pretty out there right now. Nice to be where we are, that's for sure. Sitting in front of a curling match with some of the top teams and men's teams in Saskatchewan, which is great. See how things shape up. We had quite an interesting game yesterday between Kleiter and Owens. It was sort of back and forth. It looked like momentum was going with Owens at the beginning, then it shifted, and then back and forth. And the last couple ends had a real exciting game. Hopefully, we'll have another one here this morning.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he'll agree that teams will have to be a little better today against as the competition gets better as you get closer to the finals.
And you know, Dean, as well as I do, or the way I put it anyway, people have to get used to the ice. You know, this is not a club that everybody curls on every day. And like I've always maintained, every curling rink has, and every sheet has its own personality. And you got to figure out the personality of the ice. It could be in terms of the way speed works or the way the tendency is for curl, because we all know that ice isn't perfect. It doesn't curl the same way both directions on every curling sheet that you're on. So whoever picks that up first and then takes advantage of it, that's where we see the teams get better as an event goes on, as they figure out the personality of the ice and know how to anticipate what's going to happen.
For sure. And here we are in the first end, and Kody Hartung ended up drawing the forefoot for the hammer today to start the game. And a bit of a start with some guards, and now we're into a little bit more of a defensive, perhaps looking like a force here by Team Kleiter at the moment.
It was interesting, just as we were chatting there was, I missed the yellow rock on the left side that got ticked over on an attempted hit. There's real good finish in this ice. This is great ice to curl on and to spectate, because virtually every shot is makeable. You can come around a guard, the next person can follow you in with another 6 feet of weight and poke you back if you've got the right line and weight. So it allows for basically any kind of shot making here. They just have to get used to the fact that there is that kind of finish. Yesterday we saw a number of ticks or over curls, but I shouldn't say number, a few. If there was misses, they tended to be that way. So that's great to see on club ice like this. Very similar to what you basically see on arena ice.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know if you stayed up late enough last night, Eugene, but we did another game at 9 p.m.
Oh, did you know?
With Max Kirkpatrick playing Stephen Howard, and they same thing, lots of great shots. They had, at one end, there was all 16 rocks were in play, and it was some pretty exciting angles to watch and look at. It was pretty good. And the old guys laid a lick into them.
Oh, they did. Oh, good for Max. I cheer for we seniors. We gotta rally. We gotta rally together.
And you could tell he was a home ice guy, because he was making a lot of shots that made him look pretty easy.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, for teams that don't play in this kind of ice every day, it's a bit of an adjustment. So.
All right, as you'll notice, Team Kleiter's playing with 3 players again today, and they will be this whole weekend, missing Josh and Matt. So they've picked up Josh Botcher as a replacement. He was a very good junior player that they've played against a lot over the years, and thought he would be a good replacement for the weekend.
Oh, that's good that they had somebody that they could lean on, that they could fall back to with that kind of ability, and we saw some good shot making from him yesterday.
So Trevor Johnson's been asked to throw the intern hit and roll to the open side. A little bit of a dangerous situation that could jam onto their back yellow, but I think they're feeling those rocks in front of the house are a little bit of a a little bit of trouble right now.
Oh, it looks like he's coming across the face. Where is he? No. Oh, just about. Oh, that's good shot. Came off the back one, but
and it's not bad to lose that back one because it was behind the tee, more trouble than anything anyway. So.
Yes. I was just going through some of the other provinces. BC and Alberta this weekend are into their playdowns, and in the Alberta men's, it's Kody and Hardy playing in the Page 1-2 game, and Appleman Sturmey are playing the 3-4 game. A nice quiet hit. Also in BC, we've got Paul, I'll just call him Seki, and Jeff Richard. They will be playing the 1-2 game in the Page playoff, and Tyler Tardy and Jim Cotter are playing they're 3 and 4. They're playing the other Page playoff game.
Now that'll be an interesting one. Two of the top seeds there, Tardy and Cotter, are already going to be doing battle, and one will be going home.
Yeah, and again, our senior Jim Cotter, I think he's got to be 50 years old or close to it. Good to see him hanging in there and being competitive with the young bucks, with the young dogs.
For sure, and I ran into Jimmy at the mixed doubles. He's been playing a bunch of events with his younger daughter, who's just aged out of juniors now too. So
yes,
I think he's really enjoying that opportunity.
Oh, he's just in heaven. I stay in touch with Jim Cotter. I did quite a bit of work a couple, 3 years ago. It was just before COVID, 2019. As you recall, we did some sweeping studies, and then I put together a bunch of research and information on brushing, and I worked with your team, Dean, with Rylan's team here, and Jimmy Cotter's team quite a bit, and he's certainly been very appreciative and continues to talk to me about brushing things. And, he's very passionate about curling and just loving, as you said, loving the fact that he gets to play with his daughter at a highly competitive level. That's quite a treat. You don't see that too often where sometimes you see father-son, mother-daughter combinations playing here or there, but not often do you see a parent and a sibling curling at an elite level like Jim and his daughter is.
And especially the mixed doubles, right? Because it's not an old person's game. You have to bounce up and sweep a lot of rocks.
Oh, so I know. I don't know how they do that. Shape. I know. I enjoy mixed doubles. I had my reservations initially, and I watched it and I enjoyed. I thought about playing it, but I thought there's no way I can get up on the ice off my feet and up on my feet on the ice like that and chase a rock down the ice and sweep it. So
I think you could, Gene.
Well, maybe once. It's the other three times an end, or 2 or 3 times an end that you got to do. Actually, it could be 5 times an end, depending on how you work.
For sure. There's a nice controlled weight intern for Rylan to hit and sit 2, so that'll put a bit of pressure on the Hartung team. They got to decide how they're going to go after this end, and looks like Kody's going to go aggressive and get around that guard.
Yes. Well, once you get to a certain point where it isn't going to be a blank, very likely that we're going to have a blank here, and thinking that probably with 2 opposition rocks positioned in the 12-foot, you're likely going to be drawing with your last rock. So you might as well get a chance to practice draw weight here on the first end. So we'll draw, see how it works out, and if it works out really well, you might be able to cap it with a skipper's deuce.
That's what they would say, skipper's deuce. So first shot for Kody Hartung in end number 1. Looking to get a rock around this center guard or corner center. and try to manufacture his skipper's deuce. This one appears to be running really straight, which usually indicates a little heavy.
Yes.
Question is, will it stop for shot?
Might hang on.
Looks like it has.
Well, that's actually a pretty good shot because he's got to practice draw weight, and it's in a position where Kleiter's going to have to make a play on it. And it doesn't matter what Rylan does, if he hits and sticks or hits and rolls. Kody gets to throw the same shot. Again, Jeff rolled off my tongue because Kody Hartung's his dad. I played against and with Jeff over the years, and there was another father-son combination for a while. I don't know what happened to Jeff. He is maybe saving himself for senior curling now.
He was probably like me. He was no longer good enough to play with your kids.
Well, that's the politically, or the nice way to say it is saving yourself for seniors.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I think Rylan here would be very happy even just to roll away and even roll out on this one would be fine.
Oh!
Dude, that's
or hit and roll behind.
Hit and roll behind. Not the way you want to, not the way you drew that up, but it did work.
We were talking about the men's playdowns in Alberta and BC. The women's playdowns is happening also, and in BC there's Kaylin McMillan and Marianne Arsenault. Well, they played the 1-2 game last night, and McMillan won, and she's into the provincial final. And there was Corinne Brown and Sarah Wark, and I think it was Wark, if I remember correctly. They played off, and Sarah won, so Marianne Arsenault and Sarah Wark are playing today. And the winner will go on to play McMillan for the BC Championship. And in the Alberta, it's interesting. All the other playoffs are triple knockout, top 4 going into Page. In Alberta, with 8 women's team, they played a round robin. And Shy Digger, Rock, and Laura Walker were the top 3, and they're going to play. Shy Digger actually, I don't know, one of the 3 moved into the final. I can't pick it up on my screen. That was a nice draw, by the way, into the 4-foot. And so those 3 in Alberta will be playing off for the championship.
So force in the. So with a force in the first end, they'll be moving on to the second.
Yep.
So the difference is Infinet gives us a direct fiber optic connection. Therefore, we have lots of capacity to deliver every packet. And Optimum in-home Wi-Fi uses band steering to deliver consistent performance in every room. That, combined with the bandwidth of Infinet, means that we can have all...
Infinet is fast, it's consistent, and direct to our door.
Or 2.4 or 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi.
Enjoy the speed of Infinet with the coverage of Optimum in-home Wi-Fi.
All right, welcome back to Swift Current and our Players' Championship. After a pretty well played first end, both teams, and ended up Hartung having to force against the draw, or to draw against 3 biters in the house, and had no problem there putting it on the 4-foot to take a 1-point lead into the second end.
It's a fairly basic game, and I see here the first rocks in the rings, but Rylan is ignoring that and going to a corner guard. They've got the hammer, so going straight on the offense.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of that with these two top teams. They'll be playing very aggressive. I looked at on the tour. Kody Hartung right now is 14th overall in Canada. He has 109 points. Only 2 in Saskatchewan ahead of him would be Dunstone and Flash, who are both 7th and 9th respectively. And then Kleiter falls in at 44th with 40 points. So, and they haven't played quite as much. Hartung team has played a fair bit and has been very successful in all their events. I believe they've won 2 of the SAS Tour events, which has put them into an automatic berth to the Tankard. So some pretty good teams here.
Oh, for sure.
And the Kleiter team is right now, I think they're the 8th team qualified for the Tankard going into this weekend, but depending on what happens, they could go up or down and may have to play in a last chance, depending on how this goes. Nice guard put up there by Brady Kendall. Now Kleiter's deciding if they're going to go around these center guards or to. They could remove that one that's in the house if they wanted to get not so much clutter, but looks like they're electing to be more aggressive and probably get around that top 8 foot would be ideal.
With the way this ice finishes, this is a very doable shot, and basically the wall could be double guarded because the longer guard is overlapping the other guard a bit, so this could be in a really good spot if it finishes into the top of the 4 foot.
A lot of room right now.
Same sweeping on the high side to try to accelerate the curl a bit.
Really finishing.
It is finishing.
But it does come up a little later than they, but in front of the tee is better than behind the tee, Gene.
Oh, for sure. Behind the tee is just double trouble because not only have you shown the path into the spot, you've provided backing for the next shot. So it's a cardinal sin when you're coming around to be in the back of the tee. I don't know about these guys, but I know that when we were curling, when I curled with Kevin Kaltoff and Vern Anderson and Dave Volk in our heyday of our competitive seniors, we tried to control the front 2 feet in front of the rings, especially with the front end. If they never got their rocks in the right place, if they were short of the house, it was surprising how often you get to use those with a run back or a split or something. So this is, again, as we've mentioned at other times, Dean, there's missing right and there's missing wrong. Well, this is missing right if you're not going to be in the exact right spot.
For sure. So Cody's asked Jaden Shawaga, all-star second, to have it come around corner guard and try to get it right to the top 4 if they can.
Well, they're working it hard. Looks like it's coming in here nicely.
If they have the weight.
Well, enough to be lying too, but just partially in the 12 foot. I think Rylan's seeing a little too much clutter up front now. You've got the hammer, you want to have a path into the 4 foot as a last resort anyway.
Yeah, I think they can actually get rid of all 3 of these.
They could.
He ends up hitting about half a rock.
Yep.
For sure, too. And open up, like you said, the middle, which is what you want when you don't have the hammer. And it still keeps that corner guard there. So Josh Botcher, a big peel attempt. And I think they're going to overthrow this one.
Well,
does accomplish
got rid of the
something.
clutter. Got rid of the clutter. Got rid of 2 stones anyway.
And I think that was the goal. You wanted to make sure 2 reds were out of the way, and you'll always have another shot at it on your next one.
Yeah. Nothing counting. There was 2 reds counting before he shot. Now there's no reds counting.
Cody will say that's fine. I'll get Jaden just to come around the other side.
This could be tight because it's good finish here.
It's like his weight a lot. Some really good sweepers there.
Oh, for sure. Great sweeping. rapid strokes. You want to get as much pressure and as many strokes per second in when you're brushing, and those guys are certainly getting their reps in there. Looks like they're probably close to 5 strokes a second. 4 to 5 is typically what you see with brushers. Some of them, Caitlin Laws, who's noted to be a very effective sweeper, she, I think, averages well over 5, something like 5.2 strokes a second. And you can see it in the results of her brushing. She's very effective.
Really gotta go.
So Trevor Johnson will attempt a half a rock run. Do you think they can get the back red one too, Gene?
Yes, if they hit it
Thin enough?
thin enough, and it looks like 1, 2, and
Thin enough, but not too thin. So that'll make a big advantage here now for Hartung. They leave 2 reds in around the center line. It's really key to get rid of one of that, to hit that red one for sure.
Oh, yes. Well, something had to go for sure.
So brother Tyler will attempt the center guard to put some more pressure on that Kleiter team.
it's interesting to see the two boys are mirror image of their dad Jeff in their deliveries.
They are, aren't they? Yeah. You can tell who taught them.
Wasn't their mother.
Oh, I was going to say their mothers.
Hard! Hard, guys! Hard, get by! Hard!
Well, I have to say you're wrong. But,
Hard run!
well, there's a double red here and a roll onto the rings.
Yeah, or the center guard double as well. Could be a
Yeah, you
triple.
could-
Probably that nose hit makes the sense on that center
Yeah,
guard.
it
Maybe.
does. Oh no! Again, you spoke too loudly.
Well, if you make this shot, I'm going to say this is the right call too. Because it is basically 2/3 of a rock, I think, right? Maybe a little less, a little more. Maybe.
You could get all 3 here again if you hit it across the top the right way.
Looks like he's hitting this one too thin again.
Hard! Hard! Real hard! Whoa! Whoa!
Just a little under curl on the in turn there. Kody will ask Tyler to replace that one once again.
Yes. This is, I just love watching this ice, the way it curls. Every ice has a critical weight where you throw a certain speed and it runs pretty much right where you throw it. And as much curl as there is in this ice, if you want to hit a rock with peel weight, you put the boom where you want to hit it pretty much, which makes for great shot making.
It sure does. The only key is you have to hit the broom too.
Yeah. Well, that's why we don't throw too many of those. We go like soft hit and hope the sweepers can get some magic into the shot after we deliver, because we tend to have at our age snowflake deliveries. No two are the same. So.
Well, and when we were doing the Max Kirkpatrick game last night, and that's kind of the same thing. They don't throw really hard, but you usually get something out of nothing even. Working and something bounces over here and you're in pretty good shape. I could talk about Max because I'm sure he's still sleeping. Trevor decided to try this other run back.
Okay,
And that one under curled as well. So he will also stick that one, but it does open up the button a little bit more.
yep.
Give you a little more. We were here last time, so we'll go here.
So maybe they're just ice a little straighter than they're expecting with that, because
Yes.
that's 3 of them that ran. Just gotta give them to the sweepers.
And getting back to Max, I'm sure if he's awake and watching, he wouldn't deny what you said anyway.
Clean. Clean. Yep.
For the last few shots,
Hurry!
Hartung's team has been on the offense, coming around, throwing guards, and Rylan's been on the defense, trying to open things up, create an opportunity for a deuce or at least one.
Theirs have been going crazy, so.
Yeah, they've been in a bit of trouble. Just haven't quite connected on those run backs. Now Kody Hartung. Looks like he'll attempt to replace that guard. And is he maybe coming in, Eugene?
Yes, I don't know. He could Christmas tree it, like come around and cover about 3/4 of the rock on the forefoot and have a piece of it around that long guard, which would make the run back impossible or run back double difficult.
I think whether he wants to or not, I think he is coming in.
Yes.
Or just like you said, kind of a edge on edge, pretty good shot.
Yeah.
And also left that there too open in case Kleiter does get around. There's still a center line takeout available to him there, right? There's a really smart call on Kody's part. So Kleiter has an option here to do the run back, but that just gives the center guard that they can come around. So you might as well, kind of like Hartung last end, you might as well go around now.
Right? There's a good chance that you'll be drawing with your last rock, so you might as well throw a draw with your first stone, and if it ends up in a great spot, you could get a skipper's deuce, and if not, at least you're tuned in to what draw weight is.
So Rylan Kleiter with his first shot in end number 2, attempting to come around that center guard, and ideally probably full 4-foot buried, right, Eugene?
Yes,
This could be shot rock buried.
So they have Trevor throwing third, but he is sweeping because he has watched a lot of Rylan's rocks come down. So actually there's an advantage there in judging.
Good move on there.
Looks like this one may overcurl a bit. More key that they
Trevor
have the
trying to
right
get
weight.
it in. Yeah, Trevor trying to get it in for a shot rock.
and it is shot rock, but there is a port there with the outturn.
Yeah, and that's what I mentioned where Kody did throw that really nice so that he would have this option to make a nice hit and roll under and put a little bit more pressure on that Kleiter team again. Pressure is only what you put on yourself, Eugene, right?
Yes.
Pressure is just a state of mind. Know how to get rid of that baggage. You don't want that looming in the back of your mind. As I've often said, you've got to trust your abilities. You've got to be able to trust that you can make whatever shot has to be. You've got to trust your sweepers to sweep it. It's trust your confidence is a big part of this game.
So Kody Hartung with the outturn.
I often say tough shots aren't pressure, they're a challenge. There it is. Oh, it looks like he's got
A really
great
nice
shot.
So Rylan, who just threw a draw, gets to throw it a second time. We'll see how good his memory is.
Yeah, that's that will be the call. If you're a skip, that's probably the shot. If you get to throw it twice, you don't mind that because usually
No,
that's,
there's a
you have
really good
feel
chance
for
that
it.
you're going to make your second one. So I've seen Ryan make back-to-back shots like this in his junior years very often. So I would expect nothing less here.
out of his hand. Trevor's cleaning it, which is usually a good sign. Now he's standing up. That's not a good sign.
Not a good sign. Well, I guess his memory wasn't that good after all.
Yeah, that's a bit heavy. So after 2 ends of play, there's a steal of 2 for Hartung. So Kleiter will go down 3-0 after 2 and take hammer into the third end.
Asham Curling Supply.
Superior fit, comfort, and performance. Asham curling shoes are the best we've ever used.
Hi folks, I'm Arnold Asham, and our product is always satisfaction guaranteed or your money back.
Asham Curling Supplies.
That's your best delivery of the day.
With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to be a part of your community. SaskTel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
Decisions are dictated by the
Government.
health authorities, the government and health authorities in those areas.
All right, welcome back, Swift Current, or to Swift Current, I guess, in the Players' Championship. And we just watched Hartung put a lot of pressure on Team Kleiter all end and forced Rylan to have to hit full 4-foot and just a bit heavy and steal a 2 just like that. So all of a sudden now it's a 3-point deficit, but the Kleiter team has been used to this pretty much all season. They've been fighting from behind and have shown a lot of resiliency to this. So we'll see how they come back in this game.
Well, yesterday I think they were down 3-0 and
Came back and won the game.
All right, so Brady Kendall ends up putting one center, and then Josh Botcher with corner guard, and now Brady's going to attempt to come around that center. Looks like it's running a little bit straight on him here.
And I think they don't mind. What they want to do is bring the play into the rings. They don't want the play out front, so they're going to be throwing their rocks into the house more likely than out in front.
You know, where we're talking about playdowns across the 3 Western provinces, I should maybe mention that the Saskatchewan Scotties are on at Shaunavon, and Chelsea Carey won the A, and this morning Amber Holland and Penny Barker are playing for a B spot, and then there's half a dozen teams yet in the C event, so that's moving along nicely.
So interesting enough here, they're down 3, playing a freeze on one on the button, and maybe a little aggressive at the moment. You could have an opportunity to tap that back. You could throw another one around the corner and get them chasing a bit, but we'll see how this shapes up, keeping the play to the center.
Mm-hmm. Tough to throw a freeze on this ice. There's so much finish at the end. It's hard to line them up, but I think if they can get it anywhere close to the face,
I'm pretty sure Hartung will be playing a hard double, and if they clean everything off, that'll suit Rylan just fine.
So the freeze attempt looked like it was really nice weight. Again, didn't curl up as much as they were anticipating.
And here we see the second, Jaden Schwaga. You see the lineup: Brady Kendall, Jaden Schwaga, Tyler Hartung, Kody Hartung. There's a lot of brushing on this one, and they pick it out.
Very nice shot.
Yeah. Well, I guess Rylan figures that didn't work. Let's go this way. And there we see the lineup for the Kleiter team. Short 2 of the regular curlers because of a positive COVID test. Josh Botcher, Trevor Johnson, who's playing second, but he's not holding the broom for Rylan Kleiter. He's sweeping. Rylan Kleiter shots.
So now they've changed the strategy a bit and decided they're going to try around that corner guard. And Rylan has jumped out to come help. So this usually is an indication that he either is cold or the rock is light.
If it was me, it was because I was cold.
It looks like maybe it was both. But it does give a second guard, so not
That's
a bad
not all
miss.
bad. You can split that one in two if you had to.
Correct. And now Jaden Schwaga has been asked to bring another one in. This top 8 foot, probably half buried, would be ideal.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If you could Christmas tree it, have all 3 staggered. That would be the ideal shot.
Because he's such a big man, he's in the way, we can't see the rock. Very nice shot.
Yeah, very good shot.
However, this is a triple available here to him again. He's got a hit on the high side of the center guard.
So again, putting the brush pretty much where he used to hit the stone.
Exactly. So he must be closer. There's a great shot.
Great shot. Exactly what they call.
Those are the shots you see they get made in every end at the highest level, Eugene, nowadays. Hey, that's just an automatic.
Sure. You know, it was interesting. I was volunteering at the Olympic trials here in Saskatoon, and teams could. I didn't realize that, but at a certain period prior to the draw of the day, well, that was only on the weekend, but any other time after the last draw of the night, you could come out and practice. I was surprised at how many teams came out and practiced and were throwing doubles and straight backs, like straight back raises, practicing that. So it's such a big part of the game nowadays. With the free guard zone rule, things get cluttered up pretty good, and there's often run backs, triples and doubles that are called. Here's a good looking shot coming in, a little bit exposed, but
Yeah, it gets to the point where they don't even want to draw around an opposition guard because they know they're going to stick it and run it straight.
Exactly. That's the threat for sure. If you come around the opposition guard, they'll run their own long straight back, stick it, and now you're chasing them.
And in this case, this is a hit and roll under, and you roll your guard as well, so you could be buried under the corner guards. 2 corner
You
guards.
could. This could be a really good shot if it hits the top stone just right. Looks like it's going to be
Very
close.
close. Very close.
Look at that. Oh, and it did. Oh, did stick it against
A
the
little
other
bit of
red
a
rock.
jam, so
So I guess that would be shot rock, would it? I can't hardly tell.
looks like red, I think, is still shot.
Yeah. Red is shot.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kody indicated that was the case.
Thanks, Kody.
So good shot there by Trevor to run that back, but we'll still give an opportunity here to get around the center guard for Tyler.
Yes.
So they're being relentless with their pressure. Kleiter's having to match that intensity.
The best defense is an offense, they say sometimes. So this is the way Cody's calling it.
Certainly got some good line if they can finish this a bit. Great sweep there by the front end. Now a decision from Kleiter to freeze, or do you do another run back? Trevor just made 2 run backs, but
Yeah.
looks like now we're going to switch gears to the draw.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier, if you're coming around and you put it behind the tee line, you've shown the opposition the exact ice and the line in there, and you've given backing. So
very good call here, I think.
Yeah, so you take advantage of this opportunity for sure.
Trevor Johnson with his 3rd shot and number 3 attempting the freeze. Josh is cleaning it right now. A lot of room, I think, right now.
I think he's got a lot of weight also. Gotta let it finish.
Haven't been able to get the curl.
Not quite.
Pretty good weight.
Yeah. Looks like it's overlapped a little bit, so.
Does give Kody a really good opportunity to get a little inside roll and force Kleiter to have to hit the side of the button again.
Yeah, they could put a lot of pressure on Rylan. Rylan yesterday rose to the occasion in their first game. It just seemed like end after end, the shots were as tough as they could be because of the number of rocks in play for Rylan. He persevered, so hopefully for Rylan, he's got that in him today.
Against this team, I think they're going to need that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. No.
Kody Hartung going to attempt the hit and roll under the center guard. If he is effective with this, there will be probably no other opportunity but to do another run back. This one is curling harder.
It's a little quiet with his weight.
Good sweep.
And
they just nick it.
Oh, a little quieter. This ice will curl if you bring your weight down. So
it does, and we've seen a lot of the last few rocks around that guard come by a lot. So I think they felt, man, this is going to run pretty straight. But we have seen Eugene when it does get close to that center line, it does take a bit of a jump.
Yeah,
even in that
there are spots again. That's the personality of this ice, and that you've got to keep that in mind every time you get ready to throw your shot. I think at this level, a lot of people, what you have to do, and I know I always did it, sat in the hack and I would visualize the actual path of the rock all the way down to its execution, and I sometimes rehearse in my mind, if I threw a little bit more weight, what would it do, or a little less weight? At least I had those options in mind. If I'm coming out and I'm going, whoops, I'm coming out too fast.
It allows you to select your tolerances a little bit that way, right?
Yeah. No, there are certain tolerances in shots. Unfortunately, the further along you go in the lineup, when you get down to skips, the tolerances aren't very great often, or even there at all, but it's something that you have to keep in mind when you're playing at this level.
Kleiter with his first one looking to give that yellow just a little tap and sit right in front of the red would be ideal. Trevor Johnson working this one pretty hard.
Looks like he might freeze, come across the face and freeze on the red one.
So not ideal, but
still
not too bad. Hartung will have to play a little bit tricky here.
Hartung doesn't have the opportunity to hit and roll across the face this time. He's probably going to lose his own red one at the back if he hits this one, which will set up a deuce for Kleiter.
I think what he needs to do here, Gene, is just come pretty much the same shot Rylan just threw and get as tight to that guard and tap the yellow back, and Kleiter won't have a shot.
No kidding.
No, that would be pretty good.
Or just to come and freeze on the button. The only danger of pushing Rylan's rock back a little bit and rolling over, you could set up, if it didn't roll perfectly, set up a double somehow for 3 maybe. I don't know if that yellow one's overlapped enough.
Yes, you're right. If it does roll to the open side, yeah.
Open side, and then you hit it on, and clip the yellow one on the way by, and it's for a 3-banger. So
Even
I
a
like
freeze.
the draw.
Freeze is
Yeah,
a
I like
really
the
nice
freeze.
shot.
Yeah, I like the freeze in there. He's got, again, talking about tolerances, like you said, even if you're 6 inches heavy and move it back, you're still all right. Or if it freezes right in there, or freezes on the corner, comes off the corner of that top yellow one a little bit and flips onto the top of the button. All very good shots. So there is a fair bit of tolerance with this shot.
So it looks like that's what they've agreed to do. Just throw a freeze on that and give the team Kleiter one and go to the next end. Mission accomplished, they would say. And out turn here with Kody Hartung. They're sweeping it clean right now. It's hanging out there at the moment, but we do know it does curl hard.
Oh, everything looks
very good.
You like trying to just kill these two, or do you want to get all three?
And
really
did he get shot rock out of it? I think he might have.
It's not hurting us that much.
So that was the best shot you could have possibly did there.
No kidding. Is there a way out of this? I guess running in the yellow one onto the corner, that yellow one.
Yeah, I think that, well, there's a guard in front of that though.
There is, right. You can't really see it from the overhead view, but from the front view you can see that long guard out there. If there's a way of running this yellow one straight back, or just about straight back, a little bit toward the left and clipping about a quarter of that yellow one that Rylan first threw in there.
Yeah, almost a nose hit on that guard, eh?
No, almost a nose hit on the guard, you're right. You could get the double yellow, or double red. And who knows, if you hit it just right, you could run that top red one on the button over to the side, clip out the other red one on the side, and end up with 3. How about that, Dean?
That's a bit of wishful thinking, I think, but I think
well, better still.
If that high guard wasn't there, I think that slash might accomplish that.
Oh, yeah, the slash would do that.
You could get 4, actually.
You could get 4 if the top guard wasn't there, correct.
I'd like you to hit and roll here. Yeah, show 10. You don't need a lot.
I think they are looking at where the best place they can hit it is that.
It'll curl.
Oh, so that...
They're doing the redirect?
Roll middle. 10.
Is that a redirect, or is that... That's got to be a redirect.
I think so.
Well, and as you indicated just previously, just now, that's the angle that you want to hit the yellow one from. You want to hit the yellow one from the side so it goes into the red crotch to make the red double. So looks like a redirect. So this is going to be an out-turn peel.
And he has to just hair the high guard as well. But if you don't, if you would hit the guard, you weren't making the shot anyways.
Exactly. So that guard really isn't in the way at all, because if you hit it, you're not making the shot anyway. So very precise out-turn.
Last shot here, and number 3, looking at redirect.
We are close. We are close. No.
And just missed it. All right, so that'll be another steal of 1 for the Hartung team, and going into the 4th end with a 4-0 lead.
Every trailblazer has naysayers. Every innovator, cynics. Every leader, skeptics. Anyone with a vision for their future has faced doubters in their past. So, this is our message to the doubters. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop invention. You can't stop progress. You can't stop science. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop family. You can't stop heart. You can't stop harvest. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop the desire to make your mark, make your fortune, and make anyone who has ever doubted eat their words. You can't stop this farmer. So let's silence the doubters. Let's outgrow, let's outyield, let's outwork, let's outsmart. Let's look to the future and bust through.
And welcome back to Swift Current and the Players' Championship. We've got a match of the A qualifier between Team Kleiter and Team Hartung. And Kleiter has been, I guess you could say, Eugene, laying the boots to him a little bit.
Yes.
And,
oh, they've been curling really well. You know, in spite of being up, if there's an opportunity to be aggressive and turn on the offense, Hartung's team has been doing it and doing it really well. They play both sides of the game extremely well, and as you had indicated earlier, they're ranked number 7 in Canada. So they've shown their stuff.
Yeah, they are definitely one of the top teams in the province and country, and they're kind of showing that here today. And Kody's made some really big shots, which has been the difference really at that skip position.
Yes, he has.
I don't know about Eugene, but getting up this morning for 8:30 and getting to work here in minus 41 wind chill was pretty easy. Walking downstairs and
yeah, as if that's a legitimate concern of yours.
I have to say thanks to Curling Stadium, as they provide all this high technology installed in all 6 sheets at the Swift Current Curling Club, and all we need to do is hit a link and we're tapped right in. So it's pretty
this is
great technology.
Fantastic. Yes, this is fantastic. I'm sitting in the comfort. I had to get up, and although the car was in a heated garage, which wasn't a problem. It was nice and warm on the way to the office, but I had to drive for about 12 minutes to get to the office, where I've got, again, the technology here. And Curling Stadium has been a real boon to promoting curling digitally. I remember Jerry Gertz talking to me over a year ago about this concept, and I thought about it, called him back, because I wasn't sure. It hadn't even occurred to me that you could put these cameras in all these curling clubs around the world, and anybody could link in and watch curling games, club games, or whatever. And I thought it was one heck of a concept, and I wish them well. I didn't know how this was all going to happen, and look at this. We're getting it. Getting curling broadcast from clubs all around the world.
Yeah, and in Saskatchewan alone, I know that Martinsville also has all this technology installed, and I'll have to ask if there's more in Saskatchewan. I'm not aware.
I think those are the only 2 right now. I know Nutana has got some wiring set up, and of course with COVID, budgets have been really tight. I think once we get through this last wave here, which I'm hoping is the last wave, and we get back on track, we'll be in a better financial position at Nutana to get the system installed also.
For sure. Yeah, it's, COVID has opened up a lot of doors. It's closed a lot of doors, mind you, too, but it has made people think outside the box and how can you market our game better. And I think a lot of teams with this technology, you're going to see them doing this when they go to all their tour events and partnering with people like Curling Stadium and getting their exposure to their sponsors, as you see on the screens. And it's really great technology. Thank Jerry Gertz, and we got Rory McCusker behind the scenes, and James Gordon as well. So they do a fantastic job. You know, mics on the ice. They've got them, I think, installed in the foams, Gene.
Yes, that's what they're working on right now. And of course, if viewers don't see all of the behind the scenes stuff like we are seeing on our screens, but there's different controls and different links, and cameras somebody has to move the cameras from one shot to the other angle. It's, you know, and they say, getting back to COVID, necessity is the mother of invention. Well, you can't gather in rings to watch curling. You gotta stay at home. Really gotta go. So what do? You figure a way to get the game into the home. This is just a great boom to curling.
All right, back into our game here, and Kleiter has been trying to set up a possible deuce with their corner guards, but Hartung team has been relentless in putting rocks in better positions, and is still taking pretty good control of this end.
I just have to comment on Josh's sweeping. I really like seeing that. You know, it still bothers the heck out of me when I watch elite curlers and curlers sweeping a rock, and they're sweeping on the side of the stone. And as everybody knows, when you turn a stone over, the running surface is only 5 inches. It's 2.5 inches on either side of the center of the stone is where your brushing can be effective. And I notice, like your team, you've coached them well. And I always say that if you're looking from behind on a shot like that one, and you don't see the brush coming out on either side of the stone, you know the person's got their brush head positioned properly. And I always watch for that with curlers to sort of gauge or measure their effectiveness with their brushing.
So Trevor threw up a good guard, and then they just peeled it away, and I think you're going to see that happen a few more times. And,
yes.
And Kleiter may have another difficult shot on his last one.
Again, as with their dad, Jeff, he was a great hitter all the years. I remember curling against him and even with him. Phenomenal hitter. And you'd almost think it was genetic, because the boys throw the high, hard ones as accurately as anybody. So there'll be a lot of chance to practice those.
Spot on. Yep, they were. So they tried something a little different to get around that center guard, which wasn't a bad. That's staggered ones there, but a little bit light and tight. And as they say, when you're light and tight, that's not a good combination.
No. Yeah, I remember talking about tight and light or wide and heavy. I remember curling way back in my earlier days in Lorben and club curling, playing against this one skip who used to shout down to his players in club curling, "Just throw it wide and give it a chance," he'd say.
Would that be Art Paulson?
I'm not naming names. I'm not giving out any secrets.
All right, looks like they're going to go for the hero shot here with a half rock double and sit 4, potentially. And you know that Tyler will be very close on this. He always is.
Yeah, such a nice, consistent, straight delivery coming out. 1, 2.
That was pretty close.
Yeah. Actually, that's not a bad shot at all to remove a couple of stones, because pretty soon they were going to be a nuisance to them. So getting rid of a couple of these rocks leaves less for Rylan to work with. When you're down, I've always said I don't care, and that's something with juniors especially. I see sometimes if they're down and there's rocks, too many rocks they play to hit. Listen, when you're down, every rock is your friend. You gotta find a way to take advantage of it. If it's in the rings, you push it back or freeze to it. If it's out front, you come around it. But more rocks you have when you're down in play, the better it is for you.
However, this does potentially bring a 2-ender into the game, which, you know, if he did hit that other one wide open and sit 3, Kleiter's going to have more difficult chance, where now there's I think the 2 does come into play a little bit more now.
It does, yeah.
but definitely no 3-ender. The 2 does get back into it. They can hit this one and roll just on top of the red, I think.
That's what the call is.
That's got a lot of curling to do.
Might roll a little too far. Well, it still hangs on though, so it's a threat. Hartung's going to have to deal with those 2 for sure. Nose hit, I think would. No, he has got to roll, or is. Oh, that. What, is it a double, or are they playing just a hit and roll? I think
they're playing the double.
I think they're playing the double because, again, on this ice, when you hit that critical weight where a rock really doesn't curl, which these guys can throw, you pretty much put the broom where you want the rock to go. And this is, to me, looks like a peeled double.
I would agree. This will be coming hard. You know that. Right from the hip, and looks like he's got about a quarter rock. And the double.
there you go. Just like clockwork.
Just like that will be Kleiter will now have to decide, is it a blank? And move to the next one, which I think is probably the right call, but if you're a little impatient, you might try the freeze right now.
Although the way yesterday's game went when they played, giving up the hammer seemed to be an advantage or a disadvantage because the team that didn't have the hammer tended to score. So
true.
Maybe this is Rylan's thinking, hey, let's change the complexion or the momentum here. Let's take one and we'll throw the first stone up and see what happens.
And if you do get the perfect freeze here, then there is a 2 potential, but it's got to be welded pretty much. Even with the way these guys throw and the weight they can, I'm not sure even a welded rock could be kept around the house. We will find out. Rylan Kleiter, first rock, and number 5, or 4, pardon me. A lot of pressure on the sweeper to make sure that one's right in the right spot. He's cleaning it right now, and now he's going hard. Looks like the line is good, but maybe a little heavy.
Yes.
They had to sweep it for line, but the weight was probably about 3 feet heavy there.
And with the way these guys threw, if Rylan would have thrown a perfect freeze, they still would have pinched it out, I'm sure, or double it out.
Yeah, that's.
Nowadays, with the weight, we used to practice this when I was curling with Art and Nick Paulson. We would set up freeze shots and try to pick them out, and it was surprising, not pick them out, but double them out, and it was surprising how much of a stone you could hit that was frozen perfectly and still double them out.
Yeah, and or even if they're just off center, like by a centimeter, if you pick that right side to hit it, they go out simple.
Really, yes, really simple. As a matter of fact, we staggered them the wrong way, and we could still pinch them out and double them out the wrong way. So, and he didn't even double it out.
So it looks like they are going to try to blank this one. And as you mentioned, Gene, sometimes giving up the hammer is not a bad thing, as it was yesterday. But I think in this case, down 4, you probably want to try to get that deuce in your with hammer in the 5th.
Yep.
Rylan Kleiter, last shot here, end number 4, looking to blank the end. So we're sweeping her down the ice, roll out. So here you go. After 4 ends of play, we've got a blank end, and Kody Hartung takes a 4-0 lead into the 5th. And
you silence the doubters. You get the best tools. You work with the right people, you look to the future and bust through.
Saskatchewan, you know SaskTel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. You are what matters most. With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to be a part of your community. From the dance competitions, to the rodeos, to helping discover and embrace technology across the province, we're here with you and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. Every year, SaskTel contributes nearly $3 million to approximately 1,000 nonprofits, charities, associations, and events in more than 200 communities across Saskatchewan. So keep dancing, keep laughing, keep discovering, and we'll be there to help, to lend a hand, and join in the fun. SaskTel cares. Always has, always will, because we are dedicated to our home. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
Asham Curling Supply.
Superior fit, comfort, and performance. Asham curling shoes are the best we've ever used.
Hi folks, I'm Arnold Asham, and our product is always satisfaction guaranteed or your money back.
Asham Curling Supplies.
That's your best delivery of the day.
All right, welcome back to the Swift Current Curling Club and the Players' Championship. Having a heck of a battle here between Hartung and Kleiter. And Kleiter has been under a lot of pressure as the Hartung team seems to be making very little mistakes with their positioning of the rocks. And I'm sure that Kleiter is hoping to get something going here in the fifth.
Well, we'll see. With the 5-guard, 3-guard zone rule, we're going to see Rylan taking advantage of that, throwing up guards, hoping he can fabricate some extra points out of the guards.
Just researching some news here, Gene, and I see that Krista McCarville has been declared the Scotties representative out of Northern Ontario. And now some really, excuse me, unfortunate news is that the Sask Winter Games have been canceled.
Oh no, really? Wow. Well, that's a real tough one. You know, they've been able to manage curling quite well in a bubble. They'll isolate the curlers to the rink in their hotel rooms. And I know in the other national events, the curlers couldn't even leave their hotel rooms. They had to get food delivered to their door. So you could protect those people. But with the Winter Games, you've got too many events, and of course you don't have just a hotel and a sports venue. You've got a number of venues, people staying at home. So I can see where.
You know, I participated in the last one in North Battleford 4 years ago, and yeah, staying in the dorms, you know, the mixture of all the kids and all the athletes of the different discipline of winter sport, I could see that would be a really difficult thing to do.
Yeah, and that's such a great experience. It's like a mini Olympics to be able to come together like that from, as you indicated, all sports and all corners of the province. Get to meet people, make friends, just have a great time. But that's unfortunate. Oh, I can hardly wait till this Omicron or this COVID thing is over. I'm optimistic that this is our last wave. I sometimes wonder whether this last wave we're just not a little, we're not being a little too gun shy. To me, from the number of people that I am aware of that have had it, they basically end up with a 2 or 3 day slight cold. And I'm going, well, is that all bad? So I'm wondering if.
Yes, and I can vouch for it because I have had it, and it did last a day or two, and it was a very, very minor cold. But I do understand that it does affect everybody a little differently. So I see some of the precautions that might need to be taken. But at the same time, it's yeah, you'd like to see. You don't want to see everything shut down because of it.
Well, for sure. And again, on the sort of the advocacy side, like, I mean, we can't. This is not a perfect world. We're all going to have colds and flus, and if this is nothing more than what seems to be a cold, although it does have the tag COVID, maybe it isn't quite as bad as people are making it out to be. But anyway, we've got to get through it, move on.
And we will. All right, so once again, the Hartung team is positioning their rocks very well and finding it a little bit difficult for the Kleiter to get something generated here, but they will start freezing on some of those red rocks.
The Hartung team certainly isn't missing much. It doesn't seem to matter what Kleiter calls and what they throw. Hartung finds a way to dodge the bullet.
And they're not the team that you want to be behind on either. So they are very good at that, defending that lead. So Trevor Johnson try to freeze into that pocket there, and just again, has not curled up, and he's had a lot of that. I don't know if he's got a straight rock or they're running it a little straighter than they expect.
You know, and maybe it's a different rotation. I read an interesting article. I actually should send it to you. Glenn Pauly, who in my mind is the foremost scientist when it comes to rocks and brushing, and he's a very reputable coach from Ontario, published an article on rock rotations. And I've had several discussions with him, and it's something that he works on with his teams, that everybody, each curler throw the same amount of rotation, rock after rock, in turn or out turn. Here's the double one. Yeah, they're trying to clear the stuff off.
That one up for a corner guard.
Yeah, they did.
That was unique, eh?
Yeah, that was. Anyway, what they're advocating and what he works on with his teams is not only for a person to throw the same amount of rotation with each stone, but with both turns, and then that all players on the team throw the same amount of rotation. And there's some numbers there that he's put together. He was going to actually send me some more data on that they've collected on some of the top teams in Canada, although he's not giving me the names and I don't really care, but basically he's finding that those teams where curlers are throwing the same amount of rotation, rock after rock, both turn and between the players, are being more successful.
Interesting. And does he say how many rotations?
Well, and I sat with him during the trials while he was doing it and measuring timing shots. And what he does is he measures the rotations from hog to hog, because those are two consistent boundaries that you can always get some read on or some measurement. And for a draw, we're looking at about, and every curler is different, but I would say the range for a draw from hog to hog is between 2.5 and 3 rotations, someplace in there. And that's actually fairly aggressive. And then with a hit, it depends on the speed of the hit, because faster stones don't have as much time to rotate. You're down to about 2 rotations, 1 3/4 to 2. Well, anywhere from about 1 3/4 to 2.5 rotations with a hit, depending whether it's a light tap to, and I think it's even, it was even less than that on a peel weight. So it is fairly aggressive, and there is quite a bit of handle on those rocks. And another thing that I recall Kevin Martin used to do, he used to actually practice throwing a different rotation if needed. If he wanted a rock to curl more, he would throw a slower rotation to get it to bury into places.
And you know, one of the things that I've really watched was the Bruce Mowat team, who's probably the best team on the continent right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they throw 5 to 6 rotations. And,
yes, and that's from start to finish. And if you find from hog to hog, that could be a 3 or 3.5 rotation.
Right.
That's
Okay.
And if you monitor it or record it, you may find, and I haven't done this so much, you may find that they all throw, like, not only in both turns, but between curlers, they're all throwing the same amount of rotation. It's something that they're advocating now, is what teams should strive for. And primarily to allow the skip to anticipate and be able to call line on a shot, because as we all know, a slower rotation is going to curl more, faster rotation is going to run straighter. So
they're trying to do a lot of freezing here. Trevor looking to corner freeze on that red, and got a little bit of an overcurl, but still buried in there, which is going to make them try the run back, and you never know what can happen from there.
I think he's just going to pinch it out. No, I guess they're looking to. The rock out front is a bit of a threat to Hartung, so if he can remove the rock in front and the one in the house, that's a bonus. And
that's what Kody's called. And if we watch, I bet you they put the broom down where he has to hit the stone, because on this ice you can throw the weight that it'll just sit there.
Yeah, I think if he hits it 3/4 on the left side, you're going to see both yellows gone.
If he hits it right where the broom is, it's going to come across the top of the one in the 4-foot, and bam, they're all gone. Guard and 2 yellows.
He's very close.
Oh, there's the sweep on, and we've got 1. Oh, the wrong double.
But he does open it up, and
yes.
Kleiter now probably is going to have to try to either corner tap freeze or double to sit 2. I'm hoping you would leave a double right back if you do make the double.
That's the thing. Although if you freeze on the corner, can you get shot rock there? Yes, you could freeze on the corner and get shot rock yet, which would be a great shot.
Yeah, I think that's the call, right? Freeze the back 4-1.
Yeah.
Again, unfortunately, as we mentioned earlier, when it comes down to skip shots, often there isn't
very much tolerance in the shot. Well, this one has 0 tolerance. You're going to have the right weight and the right line. And
otherwise, it's going to be a half a rock double to sit 3.
Yeah.
And maybe freezing the top one is better. Corner freeze with.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm thinking. Is freezing corner freeze on the top one. Because if you do come in the back one, you're leaving a double all day long with Hartung for sure. And I guess if you were a little bit heavier, there's a bit of tolerance here with weight. If you took and pushed the red one back, maybe a foot,
you're still
almost
okay.
Straight back or a bit of an angle, then you'll leave backing. So it makes the double really tough. Good chance to get a deuce here if you can either freeze on that red one on the top corner of the 4-foot or move it back, I don't know, maybe a foot, 6 inches.
Yeah, exactly right. What Rylan just mentioned there. I think that's the call.
Yeah, that's the call.
The earpiece is still working, Eugene.
This is like NFL football. and the speakers in the helmets. The quarterback's helmet.
All right, here we go. We got it's a big end here to try to get Kleiter back into the game. If he can move this rock, either guess corner freeze for a second shot or move it even 6 inches to would be fine as well. Fairly close for the weight as Trevor's just cleaning it up. Now it's really taking a curl. This looks to be over curling.
Curling, can they? Will they be able to make anything out of that?
It's really good weight, just
perfect weight, just over curled a bit. You know,
it's still a possibility for a deuce. That isn't totally a wasted shot, because if Kody doesn't hit this the right way, he might leave.
Kody might be better peeling this one out.
You know, that's right, because that'll leave a really tough shot.
I don't think you can get 2 If you peel it out, it's a draw for one.
You could maybe with just through the house weight come back to that top red one and tick the back red one a little bit to move it back for a deuce. But again, a shot with very little tolerance, very little to no tolerance.
Versus if you hit this one and roll a little bit to the right, you're going to give up a possible easy double for two. See what he gets here. Last shot for Kody coming in. They are trying to hold it. And I guess they were trying to roll it away, which is really good call.
Well, I think Rylan's going to have to try that shot, like I said. He's going to have to try to just get by the yellow one with back 12 weight. And move the two red ones. You probably need more than back 12-foot weight. You probably need through the house weight at least. Because you got to move two stones. And the thing about that weight, if it over curls, you might come off the top yellow one and roll into the button. So it'll still give you the one.
That's right. Yeah, I think that back 8-foot weight, and like you said, error on the side of being tight and tick the yellow and get your one.
Yep.
Not an easy shot, but I don't know they have much of a choice.
Oh, Kody's been doing that to Rylan the whole game. Like, man, leaving shots that aren't easy.
Looks like that's what they've elected to do, Eugene.
You know, if this was a closer game, like a tie game or whatever, you'd be drawing for one probably. Maybe, I don't know, you could.
Like, there is again some tolerance here. If it over curls and you get 2 or 3 inches of the yellow one, you're rolling into the button, and if you get by the yellow one, there's a deuce here.
Yeah, these are great shots to have to try, because you will have to make them in your career if you're going to be a champion.
The one unfortunate thing is with shots like this, you'd like to have two brushers to help if it needed brushing assistance. With only one brusher, although they say the front brusher maybe adds only about 20% effectiveness to the execution of the shot. So sometimes looks like this one's going to over curl. You might get the hit and roll to the button. Yeah, the hit and roll into the button. Bam, and
we'll get on the scoreboard, and I think that's what they were hoping to do, one of these ends, and it happens in the 5th. They get a final score, and it'll be now 4-1 with Hartung taking hammer into the 6th.
It's time to give your old phones a fresh start. When you donate your old phones at a SaskTel store, we put phones and phone cards into the hands of people in transition shelters fleeing domestic abuse and youth transitioning out of social services care. Be the reason behind someone's fresh start. Learn more at SaskTel.com/fresh start.
What is that guy doing?
They flipped for hammer and dropped his quarter on the ice and can't get it up, so they had to cancel the game.
How long has he been there for?
Since 10.
Who even carries quarters anyways?
I have no idea. I find it cumbersome and uncomfortable in my pocket.
Why does he have so many quarters?
Doesn't he have the new flip end from Asham?
I know, right? It's so much easier. It installs in seconds. You just grab it, flip it, and then you don't even have to bend down to pick it up after.
Yeah, I thought everybody had one. Oh, look, you got one.
Good win. Let's rock.
All right, welcome back to Swift Current and the Sask Curling Players Championship. You got Eugene Ritzik here and Dean Kleiter calling the game between Rylan Kleiter and Kody Hartung. It's been quite a match so far.
Quite a match, yeah. A lot of really good shots being called and made, and I should be good for the next two ends. I'm out of breath a bit because I have to run down the hall and grab another coffee to finish his game off. So it's been a lot of really well thrown shots by the Hartung team, and really tough shots left for the Kleiter team. End after end. So.
Yeah, the score at 4-1 right now doesn't really dictate the play, as the Hartung team has been really, really good in the difference.
It certainly have been. And it hasn't just been one shot or one type of shot over the other. It's just everything. It's the freezes, it's the peels, the hits. They've been
really pretty spot on.
Well.
Yep. I curl with Jaden Schwaga in a Tuesday night rec league, I guess, if you will, or men's league, I guess, and he always was telling me that they haven't been playing good in the mornings, and he didn't know why. So I think on Tuesday we'll have that discussion to find out what they did, because they played pretty good here this morning.
Maybe they stayed up all night and didn't sleep. So.
That's right, too.
There was no morning to them. This is just a late night right now. No, it's a lot different now than when we used to curl. I think you recall in your earlier years how it was nothing to go after a game and have 3-4 beer or whatever, maybe even more, go to bed at 2 a.m, get up at 6 and go curl. Now, you don't see that. She's more milk and cookies than it is rum and Coke.
That's for sure, yeah.
And you have to be. There's a level that you have to perform at nowadays to be competitive.
The execution is just so good, yeah.
Oh, it's something else. Like I've often said to people, I'm glad that I'm not curling today, because I wouldn't have had the time to commit to curling to be good enough to compete at this level. The dedication is incredible. It's not only the practicing, there's the psychology, the diet, the fitness. It was interesting again, volunteering at the curling trials. Your Jacobs team came in a couple of days early, and they went to Nutana. They would practice in the morning, go to the gym in the afternoon, and they did that for 2 days before the trials started. It was Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday. They, of course, had practice ice at the arena, but talk about dedication. You spend your morning practicing, your afternoon at the gym, and then rest.
And and Jennifer Jones' team too, the same way. They were, during the event even, they were practicing at the Sutherland while the event was on, which was interesting.
Well, and talk about interesting, so Sunday morning, that was the day of the final with Gushu and Jacobs. For some reason, I don't know how it worked, but Jacobs had practice ice at the arena, or they had the practice time on the sheet that they were going to be playing the final on. Gushu had practice ice there, but Jacobs went to Nutana and practiced Sunday morning. Of course, the ice maker at Nutana, Lawrence Coutrin, he's capable of making ice just whichever way you want it. I know the Jacobs team commented to them how it was almost identical to the arena ice that they were playing on. So that's the kind of commitment these teams have nowadays.
Yep, yeah, that's for sure, and they're showing the shots because of that too. And coming from you, Eugene, who I think in the day practiced the most out of anybody, and for you to say that you didn't practice as much as these guys are today, that means they're doing a lot.
They are. No, I recall, years going by where when I had that level of passion, I'd put the kids to bed, read the stories, and then about 9:30 I put on my parka and head out to Newtana Curling Rink to catch an early game on a late draw so that I could throw for a half an hour, 40 minutes before they shut the lights out. As a matter of fact, I still enjoy practicing. I get to the rink a couple times a week. I curl a couple times a week. I still get to the rink a couple times a week and throw. So I still love the practice part of it, but not quite to this extent.
All right, so we got a bunch of rocks in play here, a little more than maybe Hartung team would like at this time, but most of them are red, so that's probably a good thing.
And there again, punch the yellow one past their red one and covered up shot rock.
Just precision roll too, right? It's not just hit the rock, but it's rolled to the right spot too.
And if you notice, that was a little bit of a down weight. You think when they're up this much, they'd be running, throwing the high hard ones. No, this was just a nice controlled weight shot, hitting chaff and line, hit and roll. Really well thrown.
So now a shot attempt here by Trevor. Just Rylan has asked for back line weight to try to just move that red back and get as tight to the one on the 12 foot as you can, and move it back to probably the back 8 foot would be really nice.
Right. Again, every rock's your friend. If it's kind of in the way, well, then push it to the spot that you need it. And so that's what they're trying, is just to move it back for backing.
It's looking pretty good.
Oh,
and just rubs.
Oh no! Wow, and pushed it into a real bad spot.
Yep.
Bad spot for Kleiter. Great spot for Hartung.
Yeah, that was a really unfortunate little tick there. I think it was looking really good. Perhaps a little heavy because that yellow one did roll quite far, but I think getting by that guard was very big.
Yeah. Interesting. Kody's saying, listen, this looks too cluttered here. Let's get rid of the guard so we can run some of the stuff out, because they know, and again, Hartung knows that Kleiter's going to be using those, 4 rocks in the house there? 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. 5 rocks, but those 4 in a cluster, he knows Kleiter's going to be using them in some form or fashion. So if they rip the guard off, they're going to have better access to whatever the
And they're
Kleiter
not
team
just
knows.
calling to rip the guard, Gene. They want that one in the house out as well.
Oh, my goodness, yes. I should have known. Okay. Well,
A little unfortunate jam. You couldn't make that stick if you tried to play that shot, Gene.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I couldn't, but
So I think Hartung is still okay with that, as those reds are in really good positions with angles to try to promote that outside, that yellow one in the top 8 foot. Just move it in a bit, tap it up.
well, there has to be a setup shot here. This isn't good. This isn't the shot to count, but you've got to set things up so that you've got something to finish up the end with. So I think if you move those 2 red ones, again coming,
Try to get close to nose as you can again, like Trevor tried.
Yep.
I think so.
Yep. Yeah.
And then you do move that red behind your other yellow one, which makes the yellow one harder to get out.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Just rearrange things. They're not arranged well, and you often run into situations where the rocks aren't positioned well for you. Well, then, you're not throwing a shot to have a counter. You're just throwing a shot to rearrange things so you're set up for an opportunity to count.
All right, Trevor with his last shot here, end number 6, looking to play the little tap on the red. This line is looking really close again, but is he kicking again? And he does the exact same thing again.
Same thing. Oh, poor Trevor. He's got to think he got out of the wrong side of the bed this morning.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate again.
No, although it exposed it better, so for Rylan's next shot, we know he's going to be playing into those 2 red ones again. And Kody's concerned about that. He's looking to see.
Until Tyler does a nose hit on that red.
Yeah, I bet you then you're hooked. declutter is what Hartung's calling here. Get rid of Kleiter's friends. Again, a nice controlled weight shot. They can throw them all.
And tic-tac-toe right on the exactly where he wanted to hit him.
Yeah. Boy, 3 rocks across the top of the forefoot. Across the top of the button, actually.
Can you bury one behind there, Eugene?
Yeah. You wish from the other hack you could, but from the throwing hack you can't.
I think his only shot is to come down and play that exact same shot again.
Yep. Rearrange rocks, position them so that...
Tap the middle red one to the back of the button.
Yep. Yep.
He's looking to see if he can remove a whole bunch of them, but I'm thinking that's probably out of the question.
Yeah, it is. Boy, it's still even tough to move that red one, the middle red one, back. You're going to have to throw through the house weight at least. And you got to hit it on a bit of an angle so your shooter's going to... The only way you can get that red one to move significantly is to throw, you know, at least hack weight. Yeah, it looks like that's what they're doing. Hack to bumper.
I think they're throwing a little harder by the looks of that ice, is it
Okay,
not?
that's right too. Yeah, it does. So I guess they were looking
get the
to see
hit and roll under, maybe.
Yeah. Well, and I think they were seeing if they make this red double. Is this? I'm not sure if they made the red double, whether it was going to jam on the yellow one at the back.
That's what they were looking at. Yes. So Rylan Kleiter with his first shot here, and number 6 trailing 4-1, looking to get something going here.
Well, this is going to be close. Yes. Get to the nose and that's.
I'm not sure
I
if
think
that's
the best
they were
he,
trying or not.
I think it was. I think that's just about the best they could have done. I think he had to curl a little bit more so he hits the top rock a little finer onto the back rock, and then this red one would have rolled a little further back, and he would have been lying 2 and 3 or 1 and 3.
And might have rolled his shooter under a bit.
And exactly, and rolled the shooter a bit.
I think Kody will just take care of business and hit that one on the nose and...
Yep. And say next.
Say now what?
Yep. Your turn.
And then Kleiter's coach is glad he's not there for any kind of timeout.
Well, I'm sure you would have had words of encouragement coming out there. You know, if nothing else, they've just got to play and get a feel for whatever kind of shot that has to be made on this ice, so that going into the next game, they're just a little better prepared to be able to read the ice.
Absolutely, they're in a good position as the loser of this event drops to a B qualifying game.
Oh.
And then the loser of that one also drops to a C qualifying game. So.
So maybe they were planning on losing.
Yeah, that's right. So, but you're right. You want to continue to get better every game, and even when you're down in a game like this, you still want to get your confidence in making shots.
You know, this is the kind of game where you don't worry about the scoreboard. You worry about execution. You worry about understanding how this ice works. Get a read on weight for yourself.
So here, Eugenie's got the chance of hitting that red on the nose to sit 2, make the nose double to sit 2. Or you can freeze in, like he's talking there, onto the the back of the button. I don't know that you'll even be, oh yeah, you should be shot. Yeah, so that's probably the right call.
Yeah, that's probably the right call.
And you have some options there too. If you're a bit heavy and doesn't curl up, you can come off of that yellow one and roll up on top of the red.
So the danger here for Rylan is if he moves this red one back, well, he'll move it back a foot or two by the looks of that ice. He might just leave a yellow double for 4.
This is true. Yeah, I think so. It does look tight ice for a freeze to me.
Yeah, I think he's wanting to move something.
They're cleaning it down. Must be fairly close. Now Trevor's going hard. Strong boy. Is he going to get it there? And no, it will come up light and tight. Now Kody has a draw for, or a hit for 5.
Tap for 4. 5?
5, I think. 4 or 5.
Anyway, it's going to be too much for Kleiter.
It will be too much, yes.
So it looks like maybe I didn't need a full cup of coffee for the last couple of events. Half a cup would have been enough.
A very well played game by the Hartung team.
Oh,
They're
excellent.
definitely deserving of the victory today.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to make it still too. Never a given. Out-turn hit last rock. And number 6, Kody Hartung, looking to hit and stick for 4, maybe 5. This one is running on him a little bit. I think he's just being a little bit gentle to the team and not taking a 5.
Just
Taking
taking
2
the deuce.
instead. So with that, Kody Hartung, I believe, took a 2-ender to lead 6-1, and it looks like a handshakes with only 2 ends left. So we'll be back, I guess, tonight at 5:15.
Is that the next game? Yeah, I'm tied up for the rest of the day too, so we'll see you guys. See you later.
All right, thanks from Swift Current. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Dean. Bye.
Bye.
Every trailblazer has naysayers. Every innovator, cynics. Every leader, skeptics. Anyone with a vision for their future has faced doubters in their past. So, this is our message to the doubters. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop invention. You can't stop progress. You can't stop science. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop family. You can't stop heart. You can't stop harvest. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop the desire to make your mark, make your fortune, and make anyone who has ever doubted eat their words. You can't stop this farmer. So let's silence the doubters. Let's outgrow, let's outyield, let's outwork, let's outsmart. Let's look to the future and bust through. You silence the doubters. You get the best tools. You work with the right people. You look to the future and bust through.
Saskatchewan, you know SaskTel. Because we're everywhere. Keeping you connected. to your family and friends, to your history and culture, to those traditions that make us who we are. SaskTel cares, always has, always will, because we're dedicated to our home.